The morning sun cast long shadows across the ancient stones of Westminster Abbey as the most anticipated royal ceremony in generations prepared to unfold. Inside the historic cathedral, hundreds of distinguished guests from around the world took their carefully assigned seats, their whispered conversations creating a gentle hum that mixed with the sound of organ music echoing through the vaulted ceilings. Camera crews positioned themselves at strategic angles, knowing that every moment of this day would be watched by millions of people across the globe. Prince William stood in a private chamber adjacent to the main cathedral, making final adjustments to his ceremonial attire with the help of his trusted valets. The navy blue military dress uniform he had chosen was not selected casually but represented hours of careful consideration and consultation with royal protocol experts. Every button, every medal, every piece of insignia had been positioned with precision that honored both military tradition and royal ceremony. His uniform belonged to the Blues and Royals Regiment, a choice that carried deep personal significance as it connected him to his own military service and family heritage. The weight of the moment was not lost on William as he looked at himself in the ornate mirror that had reflected the faces of countless royals before him. His shoulders carried the responsibility of representing not just himself but the entire royal family and the British people on this historic day. Yet, despite the enormous pressure, there was something remarkably calm about his demeanor. His posture remained straight and confident, his breathing steady and controlled. Years of public appearances and royal duties had prepared him for moments exactly like this one. As he walked through the corridors leading to the main ceremony space, palace staff members paused in their duties to catch a glimpse of him. Many had worked in the royal household for decades and had watched William grow from a young boy into the man he had become. They noticed something different about him on this day, a sense of quiet authority that seemed to radiate from within. His footsteps echoed against the stone floors with measured confidence, neither hurried nor hesitant. The medals adorning his chest told the story of his military career and family connections. Each piece had been carefully selected not for show, but for meaning. The Golden Jubilee Medal honored his grandmother, Queen Elizabeth, while his operational service medals reflected his time as a search and rescue pilot. The Order of the Garter Star, positioned prominently on his chest, connected him to centuries of British royal tradition. These were not mere decorations but symbols of service, sacrifice, and continuity. His choice of accessories further demonstrated the thoughtful approach he had taken to this appearance. The ceremonial sword at his side had been worn by his father during his own military ceremonies, creating a tangible link between generations. His white gloves were pristine and perfectly fitted, a detail that might seem minor but spoke to the level of preparation that had gone into every aspect of his presentation. Even his hair had been styled with careful attention, maintaining his natural appearance while ensuring it would photograph well under the bright light of the ceremony. The blue sash across his chest was positioned at exactly the right angle, neither too tight nor too loose, creating clean lines that would appear elegant in photographs, while allowing him to move comfortably throughout the long ceremony. His medals were arranged in perfect order of precedence, a complex system that most people would never understand, but that carried deep meaning within military and royal circles. The overall effect was one of understated magnificence, impressive, without being ostentatious. As William prepared to make his entrance into the main cathedral, he took a moment to center himself mentally and emotionally. This was more than just another royal engagement or public appearance. This ceremony would be remembered for generations, and his presence would be part of that historical record. He understood that his appearance and behavior would be analyzed and discussed by people around the world. But rather than feeling burdened by this scrutiny, he seemed to draw strength from the knowledge that he was participating in something larger than himself. His military training had taught him the importance of attention to detail and proper presentation, lessons that served him well in royal contexts. The way he wore his uniform reflected not just personal pride but respect for the institution he represented and the ceremony he was participating in. Every crease was sharp, every line clean, every element perfectly coordinated to create an overall impression of dignity and competence. The transformation from the casual, approachable prince that the public often saw to this formal, ceremonial, the figure was striking yet somehow natural. William had always possessed the ability to adapt his presentation to match the requirements of different situations. But on this day, that skill was particularly evident. He maintained his essential character while embracing the formal requirements of royal ceremony, creating a presentation that felt both authentic and appropriately grand. Staff members who had worked with the royal family for years later commented that they had never seen Prince William look more comfortable in his role, or more ready for the responsibilities that lay ahead of him. There was something about his bearing on this day that suggested he had fully embraced his position within the royal hierarchy and was prepared to carry out his duties with both dignity and genuine commitment to service. The final moments before his public entrance were spent in quiet reflection, his hands clasped behind his back as he gazed out a tall window at the crowds gathering outside the cathedral. Thousands of people had traveled from around the world to witness this ceremony, and millions more would watch on television and online. The magnitude of the audience did not seem to intimidate him but rather to inspire him to present himself in a way that would honor their interest and attention. When the signal came that it was time for him to take his place in the ceremony, Prince William moved forward with the confidence of someone who understood exactly what was expected of him, and was fully prepared to meet those expectations. His stride was measured and purposeful, his expression serious but not stern, conveying both the gravity of the occasion and his own readiness to participate in it with appropriate dignity and respect. The moment Prince William stepped into the main hall of Westminster Abbey, something electric seemed to fill the air. Photographers positioned throughout the cathedral began capturing images at a rapid pace, their camera shutters creating a symphony of clicks that mixed with the organ music. But it was not just the professional photographers who were documenting this historic moment. Hidden throughout the ceremony space, guests discreetly held their smartphones, capturing personal moments that would soon find their way onto social media platforms around the world. Within the first 5 minutes of William's appearance, the first posts began appearing on Twitter. A fashion blogger who had been invited to cover the ceremony for her online magazine quickly typed out her initial impression, describing his uniform as perfectly tailored perfection. Her tweet included a hastily taken photograph that showed William in profile, his posture straight and his expression focused on the ceremony proceedings. The natural lighting streaming through the Abbey's ancient windows caught the polished details of his uniform, creating an almost ethereal glow around his figure. The speed at which social media content spread was remarkable even by modern standards. Instagram users who had been following royal accounts began sharing stories within minutes, each adding their own commentary about William's appearance and presence. One particularly popular post came from a young woman who worked in fashion retail, who wrote about how his confident posture made even the most formal military dress appear approachable and modern. Her post received hundreds of likes within the first hour, encouraging her to share additional observations throughout the ceremony. Television viewers, watching the ceremony from their homes, were simultaneously engaging with social media, creating a dual experience that amplified every moment of the event. Comment sections filled with observations about William's choice of medals, the precise fit of his uniform, and the way he carried himself during the formal proceedings. Many viewers noted that he appeared completely comfortable in the ceremonial setting, moving with natural grace despite the formality of his attire and the gravity of the occasion. TikTok creators were among the quickest to respond to the visual impact of William's appearance. Short video clips began appearing that focused on specific aspects of his presentation, from the way his ceremonial sword hung at his side to the precise arrangement of his medals across his chest. These brief videos often included commentary from users who had military backgrounds themselves, explaining the significance of various elements of his uniform to audiences who might not understand the traditions behind royal military dress. Fashion influencers who had built their followings on analyzing celebrity style found themselves with an abundance of material to discuss. Posts began appearing that broke down every element of William's ceremonial attire, from the historical significance of his regiment insignia to the modern tailoring techniques that created such a perfect fit. These detailed analyses attracted engagement from followers who were interested in both fashion and royal tradition, creating conversations that bridged different areas of interest. The international nature of social media meant that commentary was coming from users around the world, each bringing their own cultural perspective to their observations about William's appearance. European followers compared his ceremonial dress to that of other royal families, while American users expressed admiration for the tradition and formality that his uniform represented. Asian social media users shared posts about the craftsmanship visible in his attire, appreciating the attention to detail that went into every aspect of his presentation. Professional photographers covering the ceremony began sharing behind-the-scenes content that showed the preparation and coordination required for such an event. Their posts provided insights into the technical aspects of documenting royal ceremonies while also highlighting moments that captured William's natural charisma and comfort in formal settings. These professional perspectives added depth to the social media conversation, helping audiences understand both the visual impact and the logistical complexity of such events. Style bloggers who specialized in menswear found themselves with unexpected viral content as their posts about William's ceremonial uniform attracted readers who might not typically engage with fashion content. Their technical analyses of fit, fabric, and formal wear protocols resonated with audiences who were curious about the standards and traditions behind royal dress. Many of these posts included comparisons to previous royal ceremonies, showing how William's choices reflected both continuity with tradition and subtle personal touches. The hashtags that began trending during the ceremony reflected the appeal of William's presentation. Tags like Prince William style and Coronation fashion were joined by more specific references to his military uniform and ceremonial accessories. Users began creating their own hashtags to categorize their posts, leading to organic communities of discussion around different aspects of his appearance and the ceremony itself. Celebrity stylists and fashion industry professionals began weighing in with their expert opinions, lending credibility to the social media conversation while also expanding its reach. Their posts attracted attention from entertainment and fashion media, creating a cycle where social media content influenced traditional media coverage, which in turn drove more social media engagement. This cross-platform amplification meant that William's ceremonial appearance reached audiences far beyond those initially interested in royal events. YouTube creators who focused on royal content began planning longer-form videos that would analyze every aspect of William's ceremonial presentation. While these more detailed analyses would take time to produce, they began promoting their upcoming content on other social media platforms, creating anticipation and further discussion about the ceremony and William's role in it. These creators understood that the visual impact of his appearance would provide content for weeks of analysis and discussion. The speed and enthusiasm of the social media response seemed to catch even experienced royal watchers by surprise. Comments from longtime followers of the royal family indicated that they had rarely seen such immediate and widespread positive reaction to a royal appearance. The combination of William's confident presentation and the visual impact of his ceremonial uniform created content that appealed to diverse audiences, from fashion enthusiasts to military history buffs to casual observers of royal events. Shopping websites began reporting increased searches for military-inspired menswear within hours of the ceremony beginning. Social media users were not just commenting on William's appearance but actively seeking ways to incorporate elements of his style into their own wardrobes. This commercial response demonstrated the practical impact that his ceremonial presentation was having beyond simple aesthetic appreciation. The global reach of social media meant that William's appearance was being discussed in languages and contexts far removed from British royal tradition. Translation apps helped international users engage with English-language content about the ceremony, while local influencers in various countries began creating content that connected his presentation to their own cultural contexts and fashion traditions. As the ceremony continued, the social media conversation evolved from initial reactions to more detailed analysis and comparison. Users began sharing historical photographs of previous royal ceremonies, comparing William's presentation to that of earlier generations while noting both similarities and differences in style and approach. This historical context added depth to the immediate visual impact, helping audiences understand the traditions and innovations represented in his ceremonial appearance. The fashion world had rarely seen such unanimous agreement about a single outfit, but Prince William's coronation appearance seemed to unite experts who typically disagreed about style choices. Leading menswear designers across London, Paris, and Milan found themselves praising not just individual elements of his ceremonial uniform but the complete understanding of formal dress that his appearance demonstrated. These were professionals who had spent decades studying the nuances of high-end fashion, and they recognized something exceptional in the way William had approached this most formal of occasions. Savile Row tailors, the masters of British menswear tradition, were particularly impressed with the precision of fit evident in every aspect of his uniform. The jacket showed no pulling across the shoulders, no bunching at the waist, and no awkward gaps where fabric should lay smooth against his frame. These details might seem minor to casual observers, but they represented hours of careful fitting and adjustment by skilled craftsmen who understood that ceremonial dress must look perfect from every angle. The trousers maintained sharp creases despite the long ceremony, and the overall silhouette created clean lines that would photograph beautifully under any lighting conditions. Royal historians who had studied centuries of British ceremonial dress found themselves comparing William's choices to legendary royal fashion moments from the past. They noted how he had managed to honor traditional protocols while avoiding the stuffiness that sometimes made royal ceremonies feel disconnected from modern audiences. His selection of medals and insignia followed precise rules of precedence that had been established over generations, but he wore them with a natural confidence that made ancient traditions feel relevant and alive. International fashion critics began writing detailed analyses that would appear in major style magazines around the world. These experts appreciated not just what William wore but how he wore it, recognizing that true style comes from the wearer's comfort and confidence rather than simply expensive or impressive clothing. They noted how his military bearing enhanced, rather than competed with his ceremonial attire, creating a presentation that felt both authoritative and approachable. Design schools across Europe began incorporating footage of William's coronation appearance into their curriculum as an example of perfect formal dress for significant occasions. Fashion students studied not just the visual elements of his outfit but the psychological impact of his confident presentation. Professors pointed out how his choices demonstrated respect for tradition while maintaining personal authenticity, a balance that many public figures struggle to achieve. The technical aspects of his ceremonial uniform impressed professionals who understood the complexity of formal military dress. Every element had been positioned according to strict regulations that governed royal and military ceremonies, but the overall effect appeared effortless rather than rigid. The ceremonial sword hung at exactly the correct angle, the sash crossed, his chest at the proper position, and his medals were arranged in perfect order of precedence. These details required extensive knowledge of protocol and careful attention during preparation. but William wore the complete ensemble with natural grace. Luxury menswear brands began studying photographs of his appearance to understand how traditional, formal wear could be presented in ways that appealed to contemporary audiences. They recognized that his success lay not in trying to modernize ancient traditions but in demonstrating how those traditions could be worn with genuine confidence and respect. This approach created a template for how formal wear should be presented in the modern era, emphasizing authenticity over afflosions. British fashion journalists who had covered royal events for decades noted that William's coronation appearance represented a new level of sophistication in his public presentation. They had watched him develop his personal style over years of public appearances, but his ceremonial dress demonstrated a complete understanding of how formal wear should function in high-stakes situations. The combination of military precision and natural charisma created an impression that many experienced observers called his best public appearance to date. Costume designers working in film and television began using his appearance as reference material for projects involving formal ceremonies and royal settings. They appreciated how his choices balanced historical accuracy with visual appeal, creating a look that honored tradition while remaining accessible to modern audiences. His presentation provided a masterclass in how ceremonial dress should appear on camera, with every element positioned to create maximum visual impact. The craftsmanship evident in his uniform attracted attention from luxury goods manufacturers, who specialized in formal wear and ceremonial items. They recognized the hours of skilled work that had gone into creating garments that fit so perfectly and displayed such attention to detail. The quality of materials and construction was evident even in photographs, demonstrating the level of craftsmanship that true ceremonial dress requires. Fashion photographers studying images from the ceremony noted how William's confident posture and natural expressions enhanced the visual impact of his formal attire. His ability to maintain perfect military bearing while appearing relaxed and approachable created photographic opportunities that captured both the grandeur of the occasion and his personal charisma. Professional photographers appreciated how he seemed to instinctively understand how to position himself for maximum visual impact without appearing self-conscious or contrived. Menswear bloggers who had built their reputations on analyzing male fashion found themselves with material that would generate content for weeks. They began creating detailed posts that examined every aspect of his ceremonial presentation, from the historical significance of his regiment choice to the modern tailoring techniques that created such a perfect fit. These analyses attracted readers who might not typically engage with fashion content, expanding the conversation beyond traditional style. Enthusiasts, the influence of his coronation appearance began appearing in high-end fashion collections being planned for the following seasons. Designers started incorporating elements inspired by military dress and ceremonial formality into their luxury menswear lines, recognizing that William had demonstrated how traditional formal wear could appeal to contemporary customers. This influence extended beyond obvious military-inspired details to broader questions about how modern men could approach formal dress with confidence and authenticity. Fashion critics noted that William's success lay in understanding that true elegance comes from appropriateness rather than ostentation. His choices demonstrated respect for the ceremony and its traditions while maintaining his personal authenticity, creating a presentation that felt both grand and genuine. This approach challenged common assumptions about formal wear, showing how traditional dress could be worn with modern sensibility. The technical excellence of his appearance impressed experts who understood the challenges of ceremonial dress. Every element had to meet strict protocol requirements while also functioning practically during a long ceremony, involving complex movements and multiple costume changes. The fact that his uniform maintained its perfect appearance throughout the extended event demonstrated both the quality of construction and the careful planning that had gone into every detail. Academic fashion historians began preparing scholarly articles about William's coronation appearance and its place in the evolution of royal ceremonial dress. They recognized that his choices represented a significant moment in royal fashion history, demonstrating how traditional protocols could be maintained while appealing to contemporary sensibilities. These analyses would contribute to academic understanding of how ceremonial dress functions in modern society. Unanimous praise from fashion experts created a rare moment of agreement in an industry known for diverse opinions and competing viewpoints. Critics who typically disagreed about style choices found common ground in appreciating William's understanding of formal dress and his ability to wear ceremonial attire with both respect for tradition and personal confidence. This consensus reflected the exceptional nature of his presentation and its impact on professional observers who had seen countless formal occasions throughout their careers. The response from ordinary people around the world to Prince William's coronation appearance went far beyond typical celebrity fashion commentary. In living rooms across Britain, families gathered around their televisions found themselves genuinely impressed by how he carried himself during the ceremony. Children who had been fidgeting during the formal proceedings suddenly paid attention when William appeared on screen, drawn by something in his confident presence that made the ancient rituals seem more meaningful and accessible. Parents across The country began pointing to William as an example of how young men should present themselves in formal situations. His combination of respect for tradition and natural confidence resonated with mothers and fathers who struggled to teach their children about appropriate behavior and self-presentation. Social media posts from parents showed them explaining to their children about the importance of good posture, proper dress, and respectful behavior during important occasions, using William's appearance as their reference point in retirement communities and senior centers. Elderly viewers who had witnessed decades of royal ceremonies expressed particular appreciation for William's presentation. Many had lived through multiple royal weddings, funerals, and state occasions, giving them extensive knowledge of how royal family members should conduct themselves in formal settings. Their comments on social media and in interviews revealed genuine admiration for how William had honored royal traditions while bringing his own authentic personality to the ceremony. Young men across Britain and around the world began discussing William's appearance in online forums dedicated to style and self-improvement. These conversations went beyond fashion to explore broader questions about confidence, leadership, and personal presentation. Many participants shared their own experiences with formal wear and ceremonial occasions, comparing their challenges with looking confident and appropriate too. William's apparent ease in such situations. Military veterans and active service members responded particularly positively to William's respectful wearing of ceremonial military dress. Their comments on social media and military forums showed appreciation for his understanding of military protocol and traditions. Many noted that he wore his uniform with the proper bearing and dignity that such occasions demanded, demonstrating genuine respect for military service and sacrifice, rather than simply treating ceremonial dress as costume. International audiences watching the ceremony from countries without monarchies found themselves drawn to William's presentation despite having no personal connection to British royal traditions. Comments from viewers in republics around the world revealed that his confident and dignified appearance transcended cultural boundaries, representing qualities like leadership, service, and personal integrity that people valued regardless of their political systems. The impact on young people was particularly notable, with many expressing surprise at finding themselves genuinely impressed by a royal ceremony. Teenagers and young adults who typically showed little interest in traditional institutions found William's presentation compelling enough to engage with the broader ceremony and its significance. This response suggested that his authentic confidence had succeeded in making ancient traditions feel relevant to contemporary audiences. Mental health advocates and counselors began noting the positive impact of William's confident presentation on discussions about self-image and personal development. His comfortable presence in formal settings provided a powerful example of authentic confidence that contrasted sharply with the artificial persona often promoted on social media. Young people struggling with anxiety about formal situations or public appearances found inspiration in his natural approach to high-pressure ceremonial occasions. Teachers and educators began using footage of the ceremony in lessons about history, civics, and personal development. William's presentation provided a real-world example of how individuals could honor traditions while maintaining their personal authenticity. Students who might typically resist lessons about formal behavior and traditional values found themselves more receptive when William's approach was used as an example. The response from international royal watchers revealed the global appeal of his presentation. Followers of European monarchies compared his ceremonial appearance favorably to other royal family members, noting his success in balancing dignity with approachability. These comparisons often led to broader discussions about the role of modern monarchies and how royal family members could best serve their ceremonial functions. While connecting with contemporary populations, shopping behavior reflected the practical impact of public admiration for William's appearance. Menswear retailers reported increased interest in formal wear that captured elements of his style, particularly well-fitted military-inspired clothing and classic formal accessories. Young men who had never considered purchasing formal wear began exploring options that would help them achieve similar confidence in presentation in their own important occasions. The response from working-class communities was particularly significant, as these populations often felt disconnected from royal ceremonies and traditions. Many working-class viewers expressed genuine respect for William's presentation, noting that his confident bearing and respectful approach to ceremony reflected values they admired regardless of social class differences. This response suggested that authentic confidence and respect for tradition could transcend economic and social boundaries. Professional women responded positively to William's presentation as an example of appropriate formal behavior and confident leadership. Many noted that his approach to ceremonial occasions provided a model that could be applied across gender lines, demonstrating how individuals could honor formal requirements while maintaining personal authenticity. Female leaders in various fields began referencing his presentation in discussions about executive presence and professional development. The international media coverage of public response revealed the global nature of appreciation for William's ceremonial appearance. News outlets from countries across Europe, Asia, and the Americas reported on positive reactions from their own populations, suggesting that his presentation had succeeded in creating cross-cultural appeal. This international response demonstrated the universal nature of admiration for authentic confidence and respectful behavior. Community, leaders and public figures began referencing William's coronation appearance in speeches and public statements about leadership and service. His presentation provided a contemporary example of how individuals could approach formal responsibilities with both dignity and genuine engagement. Politicians, business leaders, and community organizers found his approach offered lessons applicable to their own public roles and ceremonial obligations. The response from diverse cultural communities within Britain revealed how William's presentation, who had succeeded in appealing across ethnic and religious boundaries. Comments from British citizens of various backgrounds showed appreciation for his respectful approach to ceremony and tradition, recognizing qualities they valued in their own cultural contexts. This broad appeal suggested that authentic confidence and respect for formal occasions could unite people across different cultural traditions. Religious leaders from various faiths commented positively on William's reverent approach to the ceremonial aspects of the coronation. His respectful behavior during religious portions of the ceremony and his dignified presentation throughout the event earned appreciation from clergy and religious communities who valued proper conduct during sacred or significant occasions. The impact on confidence and self-presentation extended beyond immediate viewers to influence broader conversations about personal development and authentic leadership. Life coaches and personal development professionals began using William's coronation appearance as an example of how individuals could approach challenging situations with confidence while remaining true to their personal values and authentic selves. Youth organizations and leadership development programs began incorporating discussions about William's presentation into their curricula about public speaking, formal behavior, and leadership presence. His approach provided a real-world example that young people could study and learn from as they developed their own skills in formal situations and public presentations. The lasting impression from public response was that William had succeeded in demonstrating how traditional ceremonies and formal occasions could remain meaningful and relevant to contemporary audiences. His authentic confidence and respectful approach had created a bridge between ancient traditions and modern sensibilities, showing that ceremonial roles could be fulfilled with both dignity and genuine human connection. Weeks after the coronation ceremony had ended and the last photographs had been published, the influence of Prince William's appearance continued to ripple through various aspects of culture and society in ways that surprised even experienced royal watchers. Fashion retailers across Britain began reporting unusual patterns in their sales data, with significant increases in requests for precisely fitted formal wear and military-inspired accessories. Young men who had never previously shown interest in traditional menswear were visiting tailors and formal wear shops, asking specifically for clothing that would help them achieve the same confident presentation they had witnessed during the ceremony. The impact on men's fashion extended beyond simple imitation to broader changes in how formal wear was being approached and understood. Tailoring schools reported increased enrollment from students who wanted to learn the skills necessary to create the kind of precise, perfectly fitted garments that had made William's appearance so striking. These students often mentioned the coronation specifically as their inspiration, explaining that they had been impressed by the obvious quality and craftsmanship evident in his ceremonial uniform. Fashion magazines that typically focused on women's style began dedicating more space to menswear analysis and formal dress instruction. Editors recognized that William's coronation appearance had generated genuine interest in male fashion and formal presentation among readers who had never previously engaged with such content. Articles appeared that broke down the elements of successful formal dressing, using his ceremonial appearance as the gold standard for how traditional formal wear should be worn in contemporary settings. Leadership development programs in corporations and educational institutions began incorporating footage of William's ceremonial behavior into their training materials. Business schools started using his presentation as an example of executive presence and confident leadership, analyzing how his posture, facial expressions, and overall demeanor conveyed authority while maintaining approachability. These academic analyses helped students understand how personal presentation could enhance professional effectiveness and leadership credibility. The influence reached into unexpected areas of popular culture, with television costume designers. Reporting increased demand for historically accurate formal wear that captured the same sense of dignity and authenticity that William had demonstrated. Period dramas and formal event scenes in contemporary shows began featuring more carefully researched and precisely fitted ceremonial clothing, as producers recognized that audiences now had higher expectations for authentic formal presentation. Military academies and officer training programs around the world began using William's coronation appearance as instructional material for teaching proper military bearing and ceremonial protocol. His demonstration of how military dress should be worn with respect and confidence provided a contemporary example that resonated with young officers learning about tradition and military values. Training instructors noted that students responded more positively to lessons about ceremonial behavior when Williams' approach was used as a reference point. The psychological impact of his confident presentation became a subject of academic study in universities researching leadership, social psychology, and public communication. Researchers began analyzing what specific elements of his appearance and behavior had created such widespread positive response, seeking to understand how authentic confidence could be developed and expressed in formal situations. These studies contributed to broader academic understanding of how personal presentation affects public perception and social influence. Wedding industry professionals reported changes in how grooms approached their formal wear choices for ceremonial occasions. Many men planning weddings began requesting military-inspired formal wear or seeking the kind of precise tailoring that would create the clean, confident appearance they had admired during the coronation. Wedding planners noted that grooms were taking more active interest in their ceremonial presentation, often specifically mentioning Williams' appearance as their inspiration for how they wanted to look on their own important day. The influence extended to corporate culture, where business leaders began paying more attention to how formal presentation could enhance their professional effectiveness. Executive coaching services reported increased demand for training that would help business leaders develop the kind of confident, authentic presence that William had demonstrated. Companies organizing formal events and ceremonial occasions began setting higher standards for appropriate dress and behavior, using his coronation appearance as their benchmark for professional excellence. International diplomatic circles began discussing how William's presentation had demonstrated the continued relevance of formal protocol and ceremonial behavior in modern international relations. Diplomats and protocol officers noted that his respectful approach to tradition while maintaining personal authenticity provided a model for how formal diplomatic occasions could be conducted with both dignity and genuine engagement. This influence began appearing in how state visits and formal diplomatic events were planned and executed. Fashion weeks in major cities began featuring more collections that incorporated elements inspired by military dress and ceremonial formality. Designers recognized that William's coronation appearance had demonstrated significant consumer interest in traditional formal wear when presented with contemporary confidence and authenticity. These collections helped bridge the gap between historical formal wear traditions and modern fashion sensibilities. The impact on youth culture was particularly significant, with young people who had been inspired by William's confident presentation seeking opportunities to develop their own formal presentation skills. Drama programs and public speaking clubs reported increased participation from students who wanted to learn how to carry themselves with similar confidence during formal occasions. These young people often specifically mentioned the coronation as their motivation for developing better formal presentation abilities. Educational institutions began incorporating lessons about appropriate formal behavior and confident presentation into their curricula, recognizing that William's approach provided an excellent example of how traditional values could be expressed in contemporary contexts. Students who might typically resist lessons about formal behavior showed greater receptivity when his presentation was used as an example of how such skills could enhance personal effectiveness and social influence. The influence reached into community organizations and volunteer groups, where leaders began emphasizing the importance of appropriate presentation during formal events and ceremonial occasions. Many organizations reported that their members showed increased interest in learning about proper formal behavior after witnessing how effectively William had combined respect for tradition with personal authenticity during the coronation ceremony. Publishing companies began commissioning books about formal dress, ceremonial behavior, and confident presentation that used William's coronation appearance as case study material. These publications helped readers understand how the principles demonstrated during his ceremonial presentation could be applied to their own formal occasions and professional situations. The books often featured detailed analysis of what had made his approach so effective and how ordinary people could develop similar confidence and presentation skills. The lasting cultural impact suggested that William's coronation appearance had successfully demonstrated how traditional ceremonies and formal occasions could remain meaningful and relevant in contemporary society. His approach had shown that respect for tradition and authentic personal confidence were not contradictory but could be combined to create presentations that honored the past while appealing to modern sensibilities. Years later, fashion historians and cultural analysts would recognize William's coronation appearance as a significant moment in the evolution of formal dress and ceremonial behavior. His success in balancing traditional protocol with authentic confidence had created a new template for how public figures could approach formal occasions, influencing everything from corporate culture to wedding planning to leadership development. The breadth and depth of this influence demonstrated how a single, well-executed formal presentation could have far-reaching cultural impact, inspiring people across different contexts to approach their own formal occasions with greater confidence, authenticity, and respect for the traditions they were participating in.